we learned about you through a advertisement that came via CoConstruct, and we had started using CoConstruct, and that's been quite a help. So having you associated with CoConstruct was a good validation for what you offered. And we began the training because I realized, although I knew how to build, I didn't really know how to get customers into my business. And it was very much by gosh and by golly. And so we really have struggled with how do we get customers into our business. One is to have an organized plan for sales and marketing, and I feel like I have that plan, and it's not been fully executed, but I have that plan, and I feel confident. Another one is to better understand my numbers and projecting, and that is well underway. I have a much better sense of that, particularly working with Russ recently. Some much better understanding of certain key numbers, and a better understanding of how to utilize key performance indicators. Again, I'm still growing and learning in that, but I feel like I've made some real progress in that understanding. I mean, I think accountability has been a big part of what has been part of the program, setting out the 90-day goals, asking for us to submit things, getting feedback, Alex giving feedback on our assignments. I definitely feel a lot of pressure if I don't get my stuff done. And it's like, oh, I've got to get it done, which helps me do the things I already want to do. It's really of value to have someone outside of my organization saying, set these goals, and what are you doing to meet them, and let's get them written down, and then encouraging along the way to keep going. Favorite and most valued topic. I'll be like Alex, this is my favorite topic. He says that about every topic. I've noticed that. But I think there's a reason why, because I don't think you can have a sum with one without the other. There's definitely a good synergism. I think in terms of the things that I've learned the most from, some of the KPI work has been very, very valuable to me, but then also just understanding a marketing strategy, how we put together a marketing strategy and how it differs from the kind of marketing strategies that I've been sold. And I think that's probably the most valuable thing, is having a marketing strategy that's different than the marketing strategies I've been sold in the past. Well, I think the biggest difference is getting some control over what I do, what I spend, looking for individual results. I feel like the traditional strategies of going to home shows or just spending thousands and thousands of dollars on advertisements in magazines or whatever types of print media, it's definitely felt like pouring money out on the sand. And although we have yet to realize the results, it is making a lot of sense to me that there's a strategy to control your expenditure as it relates directly to your results, as opposed to just throwing lots of money out there and hoping somebody's going to call. I'm sort of afraid to recommend it to other builders in my immediate area. But yes, I would recommend it. I would recommend it because as builders, unless we have that kind of education, there's very little that prepares us for the other pieces of running a business. If you don't have the business background, you don't have the sales and marketing background, you don't have some of the other financial background, I feel like you folks at Acris have done a good job of helping me fill in some of those holes. I mean, some of it I had, but in a lot of cases I had some really serious holes. So that's been a good, that's been very valuable, and why I would recommend it. I think the other reason I feel like there's actual real information. A lot of the business consultants that I've hired and spent a lot of money on, I probably would have been better off with a book. So, to be perfectly honest. That's not to say I haven't learned things from other people, but, I had one consultant I worked with a while ago, and nice guy, kind of understood some things about setting KPIs and measuring. But when I asked real substantive questions about numbers, about how I should work, what should strategies would be, I wouldn't get real answers. I'd get vague half answers, or, well, that depends, or, well, that's kind of complicated. It's not really what I do. And there wasn't anyone else to go to. I've never experienced that. It may be that, Alex doesn't have the answer and I talk to Sky or I talk to Russ, but somebody has a real answer or a real opinion. And also, at least as I've seen so far, information to back the opinion up. Here's why we say this. We've worked with the following, 15 builders have done it this way, and this is why we're recommending it. Not just, well, it might be a good idea.